A week before Christmas, I overheard my family scheming to turn me into the babysitter for all the guests' kids. So I switched my plans. On December 24th, MOM called asking, "Where are you?" And I just laughed, told her not to expect me or the catering. Can you imagine having your own family plot to make you their unpaid babysitter for Christmas, and then mock you for being single? My name is Margot, and that gut-wrenching betrayal was my breaking point. What happened next wasn't just about Christmas. It was about reclaiming my entire life. My family, on the surface, looked picture perfect. Gatherings, birthdays, all the usual stuff. But underneath? Oh, that was a whole different story. I'm the middle child, 32, an event planner by trade. My older sister, Abigail, has two twin boys, 7-year-old bundles of chaos she somehow thinks are angels. My younger brother, Thomas, has 3 kids, 9-year-old Sophie, 5-year-old Emma, and 3-year-old Lucas. And then there's me, perpetually single, always the reliable one, always stepping up. My mom, Linda, became a widow 5 years ago when Dad passed away suddenly. He was my advocate, the one who'd notice when my time was volunteered without my consent. Without him, the family dynamic shifted. My role as the family coordinator wasn't something I chose, it just evolved. It started with helping with Thanksgiving after Dad died, then Easter, then Christmas. Soon, every family gathering became my responsibility, planning, executing, and often financing. Meanwhile, I was building my event planning business from scratch. Small birthday parties eventually led to corporate events and weddings that now command premium prices. My calendar is booked months in advance, a detail my family conveniently forgets when they call with last-minute requests. Remember last summer? Abigail called the day before her anniversary, frantic. Dinner reservation fell through. Could I find them something? Oh, and could I watch the twins while they went out? I canceled my own plans, called in favors. By 9 p.m., they were enjoying a private rooftop dinner I'd arranged, while I supervised the twins, who refused to sleep until their parents returned at midnight. Or 2 months ago, Thomas texting, "Need dinosaur diorama by tomorrow. Your crafting skills are way better than mine." I stayed up until 2 a.m., creating a prehistoric landscape that earned Sophie applause. Mom relied on me most of all. Burst pipe, first call to Margot, new smartphone, for hours walking her through basic functions. Neighbor's tree fell on her garage. I handled the insurance claim because the paperwork overwhelmed her. For years, I accepted it without complaint. Family helps family, right? But then, last spring, something changed. I met Jason at a charity gala I was coordinating. He was the photographer. Between his camera clicks and my clipboard checks, we found this effortless connection. For the first time in years, I was genuinely excited about dating someone. Jason understood my hectic schedule. He appreciated my organizational skills. He didn't exploit them. When I talked about family obligations, he listened without judgment, but his gentle questions made me wonder if the balance was truly fair. This year, as Christmas approached, I felt a new excitement. Jason and I had been dating for 8 months, and I wanted him to join our family celebration. I dropped hints at Thanksgiving dinner, mentioning I might bring someone special. My announcement received distracted nods as everyone focused on the meal I had prepared. I started planning Christmas in early November. Specialty ingredients, handcrafted ornaments, a premium ham, paid entirely for my pocket, my gift to everyone. I researched kid activities, creating custom coloring books. My dining room became Christmas headquarters. Weekends were spent decorating Mom's house, climbing ladders, while she supervised with a cup of hot chocolate. This year would be different. I envisioned Jason and I serving dinner side by side, his presence a quiet statement. I wanted them to see me as more than just their reliable helper. I wanted them to see the woman who'd built a business, found love, and still showed up for family. I genuinely believed they would welcome him. I had no idea how wrong I was. Not until that fateful day, 1 week before Christmas. The morning started like any other December day. Frost on the car, holiday music. I arrived early at Mom's for our pre-Christmas planning, carrying bags of decorations and my trusty binder. The house looked peaceful, lights twinkling. I let myself in, called out a hello. No answer. Assuming they were in the back, I set my bags down and headed towards the kitchen where voices drifted. Mom's laugh, Abigail's distinctive tone, Thomas's deeper voice. Just as I was about to turn the corner, my name caught my attention. I froze. So we're agreed, Abigail was saying. Margot will watch all the kids during the adult dinner. 5 kids is a lot, but she handles the twins all the time, so adding 3 more should be fine. My hand froze on the wall. What was she talking about? A separate adult dinner? Christmas was always everyone together. Mom responded, "Well, I think it makes sense. The kids' table will be chaotic, and Margot is so good with them. Plus, she already has all those activities planned." Those activities? They were for after dinner, for all of us to enjoy together, not babysitting entertainment. Thomas chimed in. "She can eat early with the kids, and then we can have our dinner in peace for once." Last year, Lucas had that meltdown, and I barely got to taste the food Margot had spent all day cooking. A tightness in my chest. I couldn't make my presence known. "And she will handle the cleanup too, right?" "She always does," Abigail added. "I was thinking we could open a nice bottle of wine this year without worrying about driving. Maybe even play some adult games after dinner." Mom laughed. "Well, it's not like Margot has other plans. No offense to her, but being single at the holidays means she has the time to help. We all have partners and children to consider." The word stung like a physical slap. I had explicitly mentioned bringing Jason this year. Had they not listened? Or worse, had they heard and simply dismissed it? Has she mentioned that photographer guy lately? Thomas asked. "I thought that fizzled out months ago." "Oh, that was never serious," Mom dismissed. "Margot focuses too much on work for relationships to last. Remember that accountant a few years back? Same thing. My relationship history, now dissected in my absence, with completely inaccurate information. The accountant had moved across the country. Jason was very much still in my life, something they would know if they ever bothered to ask about my personal life. Well, it works out perfectly for us," Abigail continued. "She can entertain the kids from 4 o'clock onward. I'll tell the twins to save their new toy demonstrations for Aunt Margot. And she will handle the Santa duties too, right?" Thomas asked, wrapping the final gifts and arranging them under the tree after the kids go to sleep. "Of course," Mom confirmed. "Margot always does that. And the Christmas breakfast the next morning. Remember how she made those snowman pancakes last year? The kids adored those." I stood frozen in the hallway, my mind racing. Not once had anyone asked if I was willing. Not once had they considered I might have my own plans. "It's really convenient having an event planner in the family," Abigail laughed. "Free childcare and catering all in one." Their laughter echoed in my ears. I silently backed away, collected my bags, and slipped out the front door. They never even knew I had been there. The drive home was a blur. Tears threatened, but anger started to replace the shock. Years of bending over backwards. And this was how they saw me, the convenient single woman with nothing better to do than serve their needs. Pulling into my driveway, the first thought was to cancel Christmas entirely, claim a work emergency, or tell them the truth. But the thought of the confrontation, the defensive responses, being labeled oversensitive, it made me hesitate. Inside my house, I stared at my Christmas command center. Personalized gifts, recipe cards, handcrafted decorations. Hours and thousands of dollars invested, all while they planned to relegate me to the kids' table without even asking. I sank onto my couch. The weight of years of similar treatment suddenly crystallized. The birthdays where my gift was babysitting. The family vacations where I watched the kids while everyone else went on excursions. The countless times I rearranged my schedule because Margot is so flexible. The pattern was painfully clear. My life, my time was considered communal property, available for their convenience. As this realization washed over me, I knew something had to change. That evening, surrounded by the glow of Christmas lights, nursing a glass of wine, emotions cycled. Anger, hurt, resignation, then back to anger. My phone buzzed periodically with texts from Mom, asking where I'd disappeared to. I couldn't respond. I considered my options. Direct confrontation? I knew how that would go. Abigail defensive. Thomas quiet, Mom crying about Dad. Another option, accepting the role. I'd done it countless times. Swallow the disappointment, cancel Jason, fulfill expectations. The path of least resistance. The third option, withdrawing completely. Claim illness. Avoid it all. But that felt like running away. At 9:30, my best friend Sophia called. I'd sent a vague text about family drama. Sophia knew my family dynamics better than anyone. They did what? She exclaimed after I recounted it. Without even asking you. That's beyond inconsiderate, Margot. It's downright disrespectful. Her validation loosened something in my chest. I know, but this is how it always goes. They assume I'll handle everything, because I always have. Because you're capable and generous, Sophia corrected. Not because you're their personal assistant. What does Jason say about all this? I haven't told him yet, I admitted. We had plans to spend Christmas Eve together before joining my family. Now I don't know what to do. What do you want to do? Sophia asked, cutting through my confusion. The question hung in the air. What did I truly want? Not what would cause the least conflict, but what would honor my needs. I want to be valued, I said finally. I want them to recognize that my time and effort matter. I want to spend Christmas with people who see me as a whole person, not just a convenient resource. Even as I spoke, a plan began to form, a small spark that grew with each second. I was, after all, a professional event planner. I specialized in creating experiences and solving logistical challenges. Sophia, I said slowly, what if I just wasn't there? You mean cancel altogether? No, I corrected. What if I created a different Christmas for myself this year? What if instead of showing up to be their babysitter, I went somewhere else? Somewhere wonderful. I could almost hear her smile. Now that sounds more like the Margot I know. What are you thinking? As we talked, the plan took shape. I remembered a client mentioning a last-minute cancellation at a luxury resort in the Caribbean. As an event planner, I had contacts. With a few calls, I could probably secure something, even during the holiday rush. I could be on a beach on Christmas Day, I mused, the image growing more appealing by the second. No cooking, no cleaning, no wrapping presents at midnight. Do it, Sophia encouraged. Book it tomorrow. You deserve a break. After the call, I opened my laptop. The resort my client had mentioned was available. Their premium oceanfront suite. The price was steep, but my kitchen renovation could wait. This was an investment in something more important, my self-respect. With growing excitement, I reserved the suite for 5 nights, starting on Christmas Eve. As I entered my credit card info, a weight lifted. For once, I was prioritizing my happiness. But what about Jason? Would he think I was running away? Would he be disappointed to miss meeting my family? There was only one way to find out. Despite the late hour, I called him. When he answered, the background noise suggested he was still at a photo shoot. Margot, perfect timing. Just finished up here. Everything okay? You never call this late. I took a deep breath and explained everything. The overheard conversation, my impulsive booking. I know it's last minute, I finished, but would you want to come with me? Spend Christmas on the beach instead of with my family drama. His response was immediate and enthusiastic. Are you kidding? That sounds amazing. And for what it's worth, what they planned to do was not okay. You deserve better treatment than that. His support solidified my resolve. "There's one more thing I want to do," I told him. "I still want to handle the catering arrangements for my family." "That's very generous of you, considering everything," he said, sounding slightly confused. "Well," I replied, a smile spreading across my face, "I have something very specific in mind." The next morning, I called Dukas, the upscale catering company I frequently collaborated with. Anthony, the owner, was surprised to hear from me so close to Christmas. "Margot, what can I do for you?" "Emergency client situation." "Actually, Anthony, this is a personal request. I need a special Christmas dinner delivered to my mother's house, but with some very specific parameters." We discussed my requirements: an elegant adult dinner with wine pairings for 5 and a separate, clearly labeled, kid-friendly meal for children under 10. All dishes fully prepared, requiring only minimal heating with detailed, idiot-proof instructions. "No problem at all," Anthony assured me. "We can deliver everything at 4 o'clock on Christmas Day. Will you be there to receive it?" "No," I replied, feeling a thrill of satisfaction. "I will be out of town. They'll need to handle it themselves for once." With the catering arranged and vacation booked, my plan was taking shape. I would give my family exactly what they wanted for Christmas, without my interference and on terms they never expected. Sometimes the best gift is the opportunity to appreciate what you've taken for granted. For the next few days, I maintained the illusion. When Mom called, asking why I'd missed our planning session, I fabricated a story about a client emergency. She accepted it without question. Another reminder of how my work was simultaneously exploited and dismissed. "While you're still handling the Christmas dinner shopping, right?" she asked. "I gave Abigail your number to call about the twins' food allergies. They suddenly won't eat anything with red food coloring." "Actually," I replied, injecting enthusiasm into my voice, "I've arranged something special this year. Professional catering from Dukas. Everything will be delivered, ready to serve." Mom's surprise was evident. "Catering? But you always cook Christmas dinner. It's tradition." "I thought this would be easier for everyone," I explained. "More time to enjoy the holiday instead of being stuck in the kitchen." After a pause, she accepted it with surprising ease. "Well, if you think that's best. You always know how to make things special, Margot." With that hurdle cleared, I moved to the next phase. I needed to retrieve the personal decorations and heirlooms I'd left at Mom's house over the years. Sentimental items that had somehow become communal property. The following afternoon, I visited under the pretense of checking the catering menu. While Mom was on the phone, I quietly collected my grandmother's hand-painted ornaments, the stockings I'd embroidered, and the antique serving dishes I'd inherited from Dad's mother. These treasures had migrated to Mom's house because that's where we always celebrated. This year, they would travel with me or remain safely in my home. It was a small act of reclamation, but it felt significant. Throughout the week, the usual requests and assumptions came. Thomas asked if I could pick up last-minute gifts. Abigail informed me the twins would need costumes for a Christmas pageant. Mom wondered if I could come early on Christmas Eve to help rearrange furniture. To each, I gave non-committal responses. "I'll see what I can do. My schedule is pretty packed this year." Small seeds of doubt, destined to bloom into realization. Meanwhile, I prepared for my getaway. New swimsuit, resort items. I wrapped the gifts I'd already bought for my family and arranged for them to be delivered by courier on Christmas morning. Despite everything, I couldn't leave them without presents. Each package included a card hinting at my desire for a more balanced relationship. Jason and I finalized our travel plans, booking an early morning flight on Christmas Eve. His enthusiasm reinforced my decision to prioritize this new relationship over unappreciated family obligations. On Thursday, 3 days before Christmas, I met Anthony from Dukas. "So, to confirm," he said, checking his notes, "adult dinner, beef Wellington, roasted winter vegetables, truffle mashed potatoes, chocolate hazelnut tort, wine pairings. Kids' meal, chicken tenders, mac and cheese, steamed broccoli, Christmas cookies, all labeled with heating instructions. Perfect, I nodded. And you have the delivery address and time. 4 o'clock on Christmas Day. Anthony looked up. All set. Though I have to say, it's unusual for you not to be there yourself. You're usually so hands-on with family events. I smiled. This year, I'm trying something different. Letting go of control a little bit. What I didn't say was that I was paying double the normal rate for Christmas Day delivery. But it would be worth every penny to picture their faces when the catering arrived with me nowhere in sight. There's one more thing, I added, reaching into my bag. Can you make sure this note is included with the delivery? It's important it arrives with the food. Anthony took the sealed envelope with Mom's name. No problem. Anything else I should know? Just that payment has been handled in full, including gratuity. They'll only need a signature. That evening, I attended my last family dinner before Christmas. Take-out pizza, a stark contrast to the elaborate feasts I usually prepared. As we gathered, I noticed the subtle ways they continued to take me for granted. Thomas handed me his fussy youngest. Abigail discussed Christmas Eve plans that included me supervising a gingerbread house competition. Mom mentioned she'd told the neighbors I'd be happy to walk their dog. Not once did anyone ask about my plans. Not once did they notice my unusual quietness or the way I deflected questions about Christmas Day logistics. They were so accustomed to my accommodation, they couldn't see the changes already in motion. Driving home, I felt a mixture of sadness and resolve. I loved my family deeply, but years of patterns wouldn't change without a significant disruption. Sometimes love meant creating uncomfortable situations, and sometimes self-respect required stepping back from those who couldn't see your worth. The next day, I packed my suitcase with sunscreen and sundresses, an act that felt rebellious in the December chill. I confirmed our airport car service and printed boarding passes. Everything was in place for our Christmas escape. That night, I turned off my phone earlier than usual. Tomorrow would bring either understanding or chaos. Either way, I was ready for a new kind of Christmas. The morning of December 24th dawned clear and cold. Frost-covered lawns, holiday lights. Our car service navigated the quiet streets towards the airport. Jason sat beside me, thumbing through resort info. I gazed out the window. "Second thoughts?" he asked, noticing my pensive expression. I considered it. Not about going. Just wondering how they'll react when they realize I'm really not coming. My phone had been off. The temporary disconnection felt both liberating and anxiety-inducing, like removing a splinter embedded for too long. The airport buzzed. We checked bags, navigated security with ease. In an airport cafe decorated with tinsel, I finally powered on my phone. Notifications flooded in. 6 missed calls from Mom, 4 from Abigail, 3 texts from Thomas asking if I could pick up batteries. Voicemails accumulating. I scrolled with strange detachment. The most recent text from Mom sent a chill through me. "Margot, where are you? We are waiting to start the Christmas Eve breakfast. The children are asking for your cinnamon rolls." The cinnamon rolls I had never agreed to make. The breakfast I had never agreed to attend. Expectations piled on assumptions, piled on years of compliance. "They still have no idea," I murmured, showing Jason the messages. His eyebrows rose. "When are you going to tell them?" "Now," I decided, my finger hovering over Mom's contact. But just enough to let them know not to expect me for babysitting duties. I composed a brief message. "Will not be available for childcare during Christmas dinner tomorrow. Enjoy your adult-only meal. Love, Margot." Deliberately vague. Nothing about where I was. Just enough to disrupt their plan. Within seconds, my phone rang. Mom's call. I let it go to voicemail twice before answering on the third attempt. "Margot Elizabeth, where are you?" Her voice had the sharp edge of someone whose expectations were thwarted. "Good morning, Mom," I replied calmly, signaling to Jason. He gave an encouraging thumbs up. "Don't good morning me, young lady. The children are waiting for breakfast, and we need to finalize the schedule for tonight's activities. Why aren't you here?" I took a deep breath. "I'm not coming, Mom. Not today and not tomorrow." The silence stretched. Then her voice uncertain. "What do you mean, not coming?" "Of course you're coming. It's Christmas." "I overheard your conversation last week," I explained, keeping my voice level despite the adrenaline. "The one where you and Abigail and Thomas decided I would be the babysitter for all 5 kids during your adult-only dinner. The one where you all laughed about me being single and having nothing better to do." Another heavy silence. When she spoke again, her tone had shifted to placation. "Oh, Margot, you misunderstood. We were just trying to figure out the logistics. Of course, we want you at the adult dinner, too. You're being oversensitive." "Am I?" "Because it sounded pretty clear to me. And it fits a pattern, Mom. You all make plans for my time without asking, as if it belongs to you by default. As if my life and my choices matter less than everyone else's." "That's ridiculous," she protested with less conviction. "Where are you now?" "Just come over and we can discuss this in person." "I'm at the airport," I replied, watching our flight begin boarding. "My flight leaves in 30 minutes. "Airport." Her voice rose in pitch. "What flight? Where are you going?" "On vacation. With Jason, the photographer you all assumed I was no longer seeing. On Christmas Eve." "Margot, you cannot be serious. What about dinner tomorrow? What about the children's presents? What about all the traditions you always handle?" The boarding announcement echoed. "That's the thing, Mom. They became my responsibility without anyone asking if I wanted that role. This year, I'm choosing something different." Her tone shifted again to barely contained panic. "But what about dinner? I haven't prepared anything. I thought you were handling everything like always." "The catering will be delivered at 4 tomorrow," I explained. "Everything is paid for with detailed instructions. Adult dinner for 5, kids' meals clearly labeled. All you have to do is heat and serve according to the directions." "Catering," she repeated, as if the word was foreign. "But that's not the same as a home-cooked meal. The children will be so disappointed." "The children will be fine with chicken tenders and Christmas cookies," I assured her. "And you adults will enjoy your beef Wellington and wine pairings without having to worry about childcare. After all, that was the plan, wasn't it? Just without me in the picture." Our row was called. Jason gestured. "I have to go now, Mom. Our flight is boarding." "Margot, wait." The desperation in her voice was unmistakable. "You can't just leave. What are we supposed to do without you?" The question hung heavy, thick with unintended revelation. What were they supposed to do without me? Figured out themselves, perhaps. Appreciate the work I had always done. Recognize my absence as a consequence of their actions. "Hopefully you'll manage," I said gently. "The food will be delivered. The presents for the children are wrapped and labeled in the guest room closet. Detailed instructions for everything are in the binder on the kitchen counter, the one none of you ever bothered to look at, even though I referenced it constantly." "But it won't be the same," she insisted. No, I agreed. It will not. As we reached the gate attendant, I delivered my final message. "Merry Christmas, Mom. Enjoy the adult dinner you all planned. I'll turn my phone off during the flight, but I'll check messages when we land." "When will you be back?" she asked, a tremor in her voice. "After New Year's," I replied. "We can talk then." Before she could respond, I ended the call and switched my phone to airplane mode. As Jason and I found our seats, I felt a complex mixture of emotions. Guilt, yes, for disrupting the family holiday. Anxiety about the confrontation to come. But underlying it all, a profound sense of liberation. The plane taxied down the runway. As we took off, ascending into clear blue skies, I mentally shed the weight of expectations I'd carried for far too long. Whatever awaited me upon return, I had finally advocated for my own worth. Jason squeezed my hand. "You okay?" I turned to him with a smile more genuine than any I'd managed in weeks. "I am now. Merry Christmas to us." As our plane soared south, I left behind the snow, the family drama, and years of unreciprocated accommodation. For once, Christmas would be about joy, not obligation. And perhaps when the dust settled, my family would understand why this stand had been necessary. Christmas morning broke with golden sunshine streaming through the curtains of our oceanfront suite. I padded onto the balcony, coffee in hand, watching early swimmers. This peaceful scene bore no resemblance to my mother's house. Children racing, adults struggling without caffeine, me orchestrating carefully timed chaos. Jason joined me. "Merry Christmas. Any regrets about being here instead of there?" I considered it seriously. Surprisingly, no. I missed the good parts, of course. The children's excitement, finding the perfect gift. But the relief of not being responsible for everyone's happiness today outweighs all of that. We spent the morning exchanging small gifts, enjoying a luxurious room service breakfast, and walking along the shore. The resort had decorated palm trees with twinkling lights, a whimsical, tropical Christmas that charmed me. At precisely noon, lounging by the pool, sipping fruity drinks, I checked my phone for the first time. The onslaught of notifications made my stomach tighten, but I forced myself to methodically work through them. 27 missed calls, 42 texts, 13 voicemails. My family had not taken my absence lightly. I started with the earliest messages, tracking the progression of reactions. Initial texts from Mom vacillated between guilt trips. "The children are so disappointed," and angry accusations. "I cannot believe you would abandon us like this." Abigail's messages were predictably self-centered. "How am I supposed to manage the twins' behavior without your help?" Thomas's showed surprising insight. "We really messed up, didn't we?" The voicemails told a similar story. Mom's voice growing increasingly frantic as she realized I truly wasn't going to appear. The last message from Christmas Eve, time-stamped 1:14 a.m., captured her vulnerable admission. "I don't know how to do this without you, Margot. I've always relied on you to make Christmas happen." That was the crux of it. I had become so essential to their holiday experience that my absence created a vacuum no one was prepared to fill. But that dependence had come at the cost of my own holiday joy, a price I was no longer willing to pay. Christmas Day messages began early. Abigail's 7:12 a.m. text captured the chaos in real time. "The twins are fighting over who gets to open the first present, and Mom is crying in the bathroom. This is a disaster, and it's your fault." By mid-morning, the tone had shifted. Thomas sent a surprisingly reflective message. "I get it now. We've been taking you for granted for years. I'm sorry for my part in that. The kids miss you, but I told them Aunt Margot needed a vacation, too. Merry Christmas, wherever you are." Mom's Christmas morning voicemail was tearful, but less accusatory. "The caterers are coming at 4. I found your binder with all the instructions. I never realized how much work you put into planning everything. Please call when you can." The most surprising message came from Abigail around 11 a.m. So I had to handle the twins' meltdown by myself this morning when they couldn't find the special chocolate Santa stockings you always make. And you know what? I realized I've never had to deal with their Christmas morning behavior because you've always stepped in. That's not fair to you. It's taken your dramatic exit for me to see that. Still mad you didn't tell us directly, but starting to understand why. As I scrolled, a weight lifted. They were beginning to understand. The disruption I had caused was uncomfortable, but necessary. Jason noticed my small smile. "Good news? Progress." "They're upset," I replied, "but they're also starting to get it. Thomas actually apologized." "Are you going to call them?" I shook my head. "Not yet. I think they need a little more time with the discomfort And honestly, so do I. This is the first Christmas in years where I'm not constantly checking if everyone else is happy. We spent the afternoon snorkeling. The colorful fish and coral formations provided a welcome distraction. Returning to our room to prepare for the resort's special Christmas dinner, I checked my phone again. New messages had arrived, most notably from my mother. At 4:37 p.m., the catering just arrived. Everything is beautifully packaged with instructions even I can follow. The note you left made me cry. You're right that we've taken advantage of your generosity. I'm so sorry, Margot. Please call when you're ready. I hadn't expected such a quick acknowledgement. My family typically required multiple conversations and considerable time to accept responsibility. Perhaps my absence had created space for reflection that my presence never allowed. At 5:45 p.m., Abigail sent a photo of the elegantly plated adult dinner. This is delicious, but doesn't taste as good without you here. The kids are actually behaving with their special meal. You thought of everything, even in your absence. The messages continued through the evening. Thomas sent a video of all 5 children singing a Christmas carol. Mom texted a picture of the family gathered around the tree, with a visible empty space where I would normally sit. By the time Jason and I returned from our candlelit Christmas dinner, I felt emotionally ready to respond. Not with a call, which might devolve into tearful demands, but with a group message. I composed it carefully. Merry Christmas, everyone. I'm safe and doing well. I needed this time away to process how I've been feeling for years. When I overheard you planning to use me as the default babysitter without even asking, it crystallized a pattern that's been happening for too long. My time, my efforts, and my presence have been taken for granted. I've been treated as a resource rather than a person with my own needs and desires. I love you all, but I needed you to experience a Christmas without my constant accommodation to understand its true cost. I'm glad the catering worked out and that you're making the best of things. We'll talk when I return, but moving forward, things need to change. I deserve the same consideration and respect that each of you expects. Enjoy the rest of the holiday. See you in the new year. P.S. Jason says hello. He would have loved to meet you all under different circumstances. After sending it, I turned off notifications. Whatever came through could wait. Tonight was for watching the moonlight on the ocean, appreciating the gift I'd given myself, the freedom to prioritize my own happiness. As we fell asleep to the sound of waves, I felt a peace that had been missing from Christmas for years. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself and others is to step away and create space for change. My family's initial reactions suggested they were capable of growth, but only time would tell if this disruption would lead to lasting transformation. Either way, I had taken the first crucial step toward a more balanced relationship, and that was a Christmas gift worth celebrating. 3 weeks after Christmas, I unlocked the door to my condo. The extended vacation with Jason had been restorative, not just an escape, but a rediscovery of my own curiosity and spontaneity. The first family gathering after my return was Lucas's birthday. I approached it with a mixture of determination and apprehension. When I arrived, carrying a modestly wrapped gift instead of elaborate party supplies, the initial greetings were awkward. Mom hugged me too tightly, whispering, "We need to talk." Abigail offered a stiff hello. Only Thomas seemed genuinely relaxed. The children provided welcome distraction. I noticed with interest that they were being supervised by their parents, not automatically funneled in my direction. During the lull, Mom cornered me in the kitchen. "What you did at Christmas was very hurtful, Margot," she began, her voice low. "We were all counting on you." I met her gaze steadily. "That's exactly the problem, Mom. You were all counting on me without asking if I was available. You made plans for my time as if it belonged to you." "We're family," she countered. "Family helps each other." "Yes, but it should go both ways," I explained. When was the last time someone in this family asked what they could do to help me? When was the last time anyone considered that I might have my own plans or preferences? Her brow furrowed. After a moment, her shoulders sagged. I can't remember, she admitted. I guess we've gotten used to you, always being the one who handles everything. That's not fair to any of us, I said gently. It's not fair to me to always be the giver, and it's not fair to you to always be the takers. I want a more balanced relationship. Tears welled in her eyes. I've been thinking about it since Christmas. After your father died, I leaned on you so heavily. It was easier to keep doing that than to figure out how to stand on my own. I'm sorry, Margot. I didn't see how much I was asking of you. Her acknowledgement, so different from the defensive response I'd expected, caught me off guard. Thank you for saying that, Mom. I want to do better, she continued, wiping a tear. I don't want to lose you because I've been selfish. We spoke for nearly 30 minutes, delving into years of accumulated expectations. For the first time, I felt truly heard. And for the first time, I saw my mother as someone working through her own struggles. Later, Abigail approached me on the back porch. That was quite a stunt you pulled at Christmas, she said, her tone light, but her eyes serious. It wasn't a stunt, I corrected. It was a boundary. She sipped her drink, considering my words. The twins asked about you every day. Where's Aunt Margot? Why isn't she here? She paused. I didn't have a good answer, because saying we took advantage of her until she'd had enough didn't seem appropriate for a 5-year-old. Despite myself, I laughed. What did you tell them? That sometimes adults need vacations, too, and that we should have been more thoughtful about your time. She met my gaze directly. I was angry at first. It felt like you'd abandoned us when we needed you. But then I had to deal with the Christmas morning meltdowns myself, and the bedtime tantrums, and all the little crises you usually smooth over without anyone noticing. And I prompted. And I realized, she said, we've been using you as a convenient safety valve. Whenever parenting gets hard, we hand the problem to Aunt Margot. She shook her head. That's not fair. And it's not good for the kids either. They need to see their parents handling challenges, not outsourcing the hard parts. Her insight surprised me. Thank you for saying that, I said sincerely. I love the twins and want to be part of their lives. I just don't want to be the default solution to every problem. Understood. She nodded. So tell me about this, Jason. Is it serious? The shift to personal interest in my life, rather than what I could do for her, marked another small step forward. We talked about my relationship and her career challenges, engaging as sisters. Thomas proved to be my strongest ally. During dinner, he deliberately redirected conversations when they veered toward assumptions about my availability. When Mom mentioned needing help reorganizing her garage, Thomas interjected, maybe we could all set aside a Saturday to tackle that together if Margot is available. That emphasis, that suggestion of shared responsibility, felt revolutionary. As weeks turned into months, the changes solidified. Family gatherings became collaborative efforts. Text messages began with, "Are you available to help with?" rather than, "I need you to handle." Mom started taking community classes. My relationship with Jason flourished. He joined several family gatherings, welcomed with genuine interest. His outside perspective helped me recognize when old patterns threatened to resurface. By the following Christmas, the transformation was remarkable. Planning began with a family meeting in November. Responsibilities divided equally. Mom hosted, Thomas handled kids' activities, Abigail managed the gift exchange, and I coordinated the meal, with significant contributions from everyone. On Christmas Eve, gathered in Mom's living room with carols playing, I found myself experiencing holiday joy that had been missing for years. Without the burden of sole responsibility, I could truly be present. "Best Christmas ever," Jason whispered. "Because I'm not exhausted from making it perfect for everyone else," I agreed. Later that evening, As the children finally settled and the adults enjoyed a quiet moment, Mom raised her glass. "To Margot," she said, her eyes meeting mine with understanding, "who taught us that loving someone means respecting their boundaries, not just accepting their sacrifices. Thank you for having the courage to show us a better way to be family." The journey hadn't been easy. There had been moments of regression, uncomfortable conversations. But the result was worth every difficult moment. A family that functioned through mutual respect and relationships that nourished rather than depleted. As I looked around, I understood that sometimes the greatest act of love is standing up for your own worth. In doing so, you create the possibility for relationships built on mutual care. The empty chair I had left the previous Christmas had made space for growth that benefited everyone. So, tell me, have you ever had to establish boundaries with loved ones who are taking you for granted? I'd really love to hear your experiences in the comments below.